Thank you very much, Honorable Secretary. Acknowledge the presence of the distinguished President of the Maldives, the Honorable Mohamed Muizu, our distinguished Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, other members on the platform, members of the panel, and certainly all of the distinguished ladies and gentlemen present here this evening. And I say to all of you, welcome to Antigua, and I hope that you will enjoy the hospitality for which our country is known. Esteemed colleagues, delegates, members of the private sector, distinguished guests, as we draw the curtains on the SIDS Global Business Forum and turn our attention to start the SIDS4 Conference, I am pleased with the type of engagement that has been displayed over the last 2 days. Just listening to the Honorable Secretary, it is evident that you have looked at a number of creative ways for SIDS to expand the economies and certainly to increase revenues. In fact, there are lots of unexploited opportunities in sports tourism, in the orange economy, and I especially like the recommendation for there to be a stronger public-private sector partnership. And I'll add here a public-private partnership for profit, not the usual public-private partnerships in which there's the outsourcing of service or services from the public sector to the private sector, but one in which the public sector takes an equity stake in various businesses, especially large businesses. And I say this from the standpoint that, generally speaking, in small economies, you'll find that the capital formation is not sufficiently large for the domestic private sector to pursue a number of large business opportunities. So almost invariably, those opportunities are dominated by the external private sector, primarily from the global north. What happens invariably is that a significant amount of profits that are generated from those businesses are actually repatriated to the global north, leaving these countries bereft of the capital formation to fuel strong growth and development. By having this public-private partnership for profits, you will find that investments that ordinarily the private sector in these small states cannot pursue on their own, that in partnership with the public sector, they're able to pursue these investments. And what happens with that model is that more of the profits are retained in the domestic economy to fuel growth and development. So I certainly commend and support 100% that recommendation for stronger public-private partnerships for profits. And this obviously differs from the conventional thinking that governments should not be involved in business. That may be so for large states where you have perfect competition and where there's a significant amount of resources to exploit these opportunities. But certainly within small states with their limited capacity, limited financial and human resources, there's a need for this type of collaboration with the public and private sectors in order to exploit these opportunities. Now, I have received reports of the type of insightful deliberations you've had, and I certainly want to commend you. The SIDS-GBN should always be about forging partnerships and enhancing the vision for a brighter future for small island developing states. We have the opportunity through the SIDS-GBN to tackle the challenges faced by SIDS. Though we are the most vulnerable group of countries globally, our vulnerability should not define who we are. In fact, our unique vulnerability should be opportunities for SIDS-GBN to identify our strength and lay the groundwork for a more resilient and prosperous path forward. As the host of SIDS4, and as we close this forum, I encourage you to reflect on our collective journey and further encourage you to continue this vital work with renewed vigor and commitment to the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS, the ABAS. One of the standout achievements of the SIDS-GBN is the added emphasis on private sector tailored support for SIDS. We've seen firsthand how focused efforts can ignite our economies and create a ripple effect of growth and development. From innovative financing models to collaborative ventures, the private sector has shown its crucial role in shaping the future of our islands. By diversifying our economies, we are charting the course towards resilient prosperity. And we all know that diversification is key to SIDS. Many SIDS have economies that are not properly diversified and would have obviously contributed to our vulnerability. So diversification is key to achieve resilient prosperity. The discussions you've had, the strategies you've developed, and the partnerships you've formed are all pivotal in implementing the ABAS. This agenda is not just a plan, but certainly a promise to our people, our environment, and certainly our future. Let's take a moment to reflect on the tourism sector, a shining example of how private sector support can transform SIDS economy. And certainly the tourism sector is one of the areas in which SIDS are very competitive. And it is not a coincidence that most SIDS economies are dominated by tourism, because that is the area in which we have significant competence. Tourism has been a lifeline, providing jobs, fostering cultural exchange, and would have been the main driver of economic growth in most SIDS. In many of our islands, tourism has allowed us to showcase our natural beauty and certainly our rich heritage to the world. It has enabled us to build infrastructure, to support local businesses, and to create sustainable livelihoods. This sector's continued sustainable development is a testament to what can be achieved when the private sector steps in with tailored support, understanding the unique needs and potentials of SIDS. The story of Singapore serves as a powerful inspiration for us all. We all know what has happened with Singapore and its transformation, that it started as a small state, very limited resources, and that Singapore has transformed itself into a global economic powerhouse. And I can say here that Antigua and Barbuda, for sure, we have a vision of transforming this country into an economic powerhouse. And I've said to all in this country, even the generation that will succeed my generation, that even if we are unsuccessful in achieving an economic powerhouse, that is my generation. We expect the next generation to achieve that lofty goal of transforming Antigua and Barbuda into an economic powerhouse. And I'm quite sure that this is the aspiration of practically all SIDS. And I believe that we have the capacity to transform our respective countries into economic powerhouses. This transformation that happened in Singapore did not happen overnight. It was a result of strategic planning, relentless innovation, and a commitment to diversification. As I said before, diversification is key. By investing in education, technology, and infrastructure, Singapore has built a robust and resilient economy. And certainly, Singapore is an example for all of us to follow. This is a lesson for SIDS GBN and a lesson for all SIDS, that with vision, determination, and the right support, we too can achieve remarkable success. Diversifying our economies is not just a goal, but a necessity to build resilience and to ensure sustainable growth and development. The establishment of the SIDS Center of Excellence that will be launched this Thursday is an opportunity to invest in SIDS, similar to the investments that allowed Singapore to become more resilient. The Island Investment Forum, a component in SIDS, or the SIDS Center of Excellence, is an opportunity for the private sector to fully engage in SIDS, to bring to the table SIDS-tailored portfolios, but also an opportunity for new types of investments. And this is the SIDS Davos, which will be held on a biannual basis, in which we will invite investors to look at opportunities, unexploited and underexploited opportunities within SIDS, to help us to attract capital so that we can explore new areas of economic development for the benefit of our people. And certainly, we are looking at investments that will empower and transform SIDS, and the use of certainly green and blue technology that will allow SIDS to become economic powerhouses within their respective regions. As we move from SIDS GBN to SIDS4 and the SIDS Center of Excellence, I urge each of you to keep the momentum going. Remember, as you expand your business opportunities in SIDS, you should think smart, think environment, think sustainability, think about sustainable profits for the benefit of all. Our journey does not end here. It begins in you with every innovative idea, every partnership, and every step we take towards a sustainable future. By focusing on what truly matters, we can create lasting change that benefits not just our economies, but our people and our planet. In closing, let us recommit to the vision we have crafted together. And in essence, we want to make sure that we transform all SIDS into successful countries, into economic powerhouses. And as I said before, I'm sure that it can be done, certainly with the support of the private sector. So let us harness the power of our collective wisdom, our shared experiences, and our unwavering spirit. The future of SIDS is in our hands, and together we can shape it into one of resilience, one of prosperity, and sustainability. And again, the objective is to ensure resilient prosperity for all SIDS. I take this opportunity to thank you once again, to thank you for your dedication, your passion, and your hard work. Let us leave this forum inspired and ready to make a difference. Together, we will turn the aspiration of the SIDS Global Business Network into opportunities of growth, transformation, and diversification. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we kick off SIDS4 here in our beautiful Twin Island state. Once again, thank you.